Hey guys, it's Michael. Welcome back to Michael in the Morning. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2020, and in today's video, we're going to do a full breakdown of the second stimulus package that was just proposed by Mitch McConnell called the HEALS Act. So in today's video, we're going to go over everything with unemployment benefits, the direct stimulus payments, PPP loans, money for state and local governments, and money for school as well. I'm going to put the timestamps down below so you can skip ahead to any portion of the video that you want. And before we get started, if you're interested in staying up to date on what is going on in the world with your money, well then it would really mean a lot to me if you could like the video down below and subscribe to my channel if you find this content helpful in any way. Also, don't forget you can get $5 immediately when you download the Acorns investment app, and you can get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 when you download the Webull investing app as well. Anyways, let's get right into it. So Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announced the Health Economic Assistance, Liability Protection and Schools Act on Monday night, also known as the HEALS Act. Democrats will likely look to change a number of provisions, but as of now, this is a good starting place before negotiations begin today. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who are both Democrats, said the bill falls short of what is needed to help with the economy moving forward and help the economy recover from the pandemic, because it does not include hazard pay for essential workers, and it does not adequately address the eviction crisis, and does not provide additional funding for food stamps, among other issues. So what this means moving forward is it doesn't mean this bill won't pass, it just means that there's going to be a lot of negotiations, because right now Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi think that there are key elements that are missing in this bill that they will have to negotiate and add in before it can be passed. So remember, this is just a proposal right now. In order for us to actually receive these direct payments and stimulus money, it's going to need to pass the Senate, the House, and need to be signed off by the president. But anyways, let's get into the specific details as of right now. So the first aspect of the bill that we are going to cover is the direct stimulus check, the direct payments that help out majority of Americans. Last time they went out to over 160 million Americans, and this time they will actually go out to even more. The bill proposes a second $1,200 economic impact payment, a direct stimulus check, and the second round of stimulus checks will follow the same eligibility formula as the first round, with a couple of exceptions. So what this means is that if you make $75,000 a year or less individually, or $150,000 a year or less filed jointly as a married couple, well then you will receive the full $1,200. If you make more than that, well then it will incrementally decrease until you hit $99,000 for an individual or $198,000 for a married couple. Individuals who have no income and those whose income comes from programs such as Social Security benefits, so SSI benefits, they will still be eligible for the full amount as well. There are some changes for eligibility for these checks, however. Unlike the first round of stimulus checks in the CARES Act, there is now no age cap for the extra $500 payment for each dependent. So in the first round, you had to be 17 years of age or younger to receive the additional $500 for each dependent you have. But now in the second round, what they're proposing is that all dependents, no matter what age, they are eligible to receive this additional $500 payment. In addition, there are new restrictions in the GOP plan, such as blocking dead people and prisoners from receiving the benefit. There were a lot of issues in the first round because people who had already passed away and people who were in prison were receiving stimulus checks, and this had caused a lot of controversy because it was taking long enough for people who were alive to receive their stimulus checks. So they said now in the second round it will not be included, so dead people will not get them, and also people in prison will not receive payments as well. Next up is with unemployment benefits, the enhanced unemployment federal boost to unemployment benefits. The $1 trillion bill that Mitch McConnell proposed last night includes an extra $200 per week in unemployment insurance, down from $600 per week in the CARES Act. It also includes more money for schools, among other measures. Under the plans, a state would have until October to switch over to a new system in which workers would be paid 70% of their prior earnings. So this will be a wage replacement. Until then, until states are able to switch over to paying people 70% of their prior earnings, the federal government would provide a $200 per week flat rate for these enhanced unemployment benefits for each jobless worker, down from $600 per week it was previously providing. This just expired this past week. The last days that these $600 payments went out were this past Saturday and Sunday. So as of this week, there is no new plan in place yet, but this is what they are proposing. They said that states unable to provide the more targeted form of benefits, the ones that are having more trouble switching over and updating their systems to be able to pay out people 70% of their prior earnings. The plan explains how states can ask the Labor Department for a waiver to continue the flat payment of $200 per week for an additional 2 months after October 5th. So they said if they're not able to switch over, it won't be a big deal. They can still send out $200 per week flat rate. Next up is with state aid and money for state and local governments. So for city, county, and state leaders, the GOP plan offers only minimal relief. It contains no new dollars, no new money for state and local governments, despite months of pleas from local government leaders who sought as much as $1 trillion in new federal aid. Instead, Senate Republicans will allow municipalities and their states to use an existing $150 billion pot of funds approved as part of the CARES Act in a more flexible manner. So there's $150 billion that has not all been spent yet, and now they're saying that state and local governments can use this money more flexibly than they could before. For the first time, local governments can use this money to close their massive budget deficits. That is something that the CARES Act forbid and they did not allow. Moving on to education funding for schools, the GOP bill includes $105 billion for education, with $70 billion targeted to K through 12 schools. Of that funding, it is reserved to help schools that reopen for in-person instruction. So in order to get the funding, schools would have to meet certain criteria, which are called minimum opening requirements, established by their states to receive this funding. So not all schools will be eligible to receive the funding if they don't meet these minimum opening requirements with their schools. Moving on to health funding. So Senate Republicans are also proposing an additional $16 billion in funding for virus testing, $16 billion for the National Institute of Health, and $3 billion for the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Initially, the White House officials sought to lower the amounts of spending on public health for the virus and for vaccine developments, arguing that significant funding already was approved by Congress and it had not all been used yet. However, GOP lawmakers reached an agreement to increase the public health funds after a number of Republicans in Congress were pushing for more funding for vaccine developments, for funding for testing, and all of those aspects related to helping the country develop a vaccine for the virus. And finally, with the PPP loan. So if you have a small business, so the Senate proposal would allow the hardest hit small business owners to receive a second payment protection loan and still qualify for forgiveness. Under the proposal, an eligible business must have 300 or fewer employees and demonstrate at least a 50% reduction in gross receipts in the first or second quarter of 2020 relative to the same quarter in 2019. So what that means is they have to be significantly hurt by the virus in order to receive a second payment protection loan, and that is what they are planning on doing with the PPP money and helping small businesses. And lastly, the HEALS Act also talks about liability protections for businesses. McConnell's bill includes a 5-year liability shield aimed at preventing businesses, universities, schools, and hospitals from being sued over virus-related damages. McConnell has called the provision a red line, and he says this must be included in order for them to agree, in order for him to agree that the bill will be passed. So anyways, those are the basics of what are in the new bill called the HEALS Act that Mitch McConnell just proposed late in the evening yesterday. I'm going to keep you updated on what else is going on, new developments with this second stimulus package, if there are any major changes, and up until they finally sign off on the bill, what happens with it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. That is your Tuesday, July 28th, 2020 morning update for what is going on with the second stimulus package. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to get $5 immediately when you download the Acorns investment app, and get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 when you download the Webull investing app using the link down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.